Hey everyone, Ekman here with another video, and today we have Clay here, who's been on quite the tear this month with Rob Lucci. He's topped a couple events that I've been covering, including this second place finish today for PPG's 1,000-person webcam regionals. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great for sure.
Yeah,
I'm really happy I got second and didn't third
yeah,
suck, but um,
for sure.
was so close. Didn't quite make it though, but hopefully next time.
Yeah, and you did play on stream. You were in the finals, so I think that's very very strong. And in general, like I have to keep preaching this, but Arizona has such a very good scene. A lot of you guys just keep grinding, and I've been seeing you do very well with Lucci, which is what he played with Lucci, and it's just been very good. So really cool to see you get the second place finish today.
Yeah, no, it was sick for sure. I ran the Whitebeard Gauntlet, played
Hmm.
against that like 6 times today.
Okay,
So
I mean, it was the
uh,
last time, at least at that power, right? At least you were able to overcome it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, if they just put the Marco to one, then Lucci is like still in a golden spot because it's the multiple Marcos that makes that matchup really hard.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, because you
but
don't really
but
care about one, but
No,
yeah,
no, not
yeah.
at all. No. And then obviously like Rad being at one next week is going to be really nice too because
Hmm.
I'm for anyone that watched, I went to swing for eights,
Ooh.
and he had already Rad beamed once or twice. I think it was one. No, it was twice
Hmm.
beforehand with one card. So theoretically, next week that would have had to have been a guard point,
Yeah,
and
yeah. So I,
yeah,
I agree. Yeah, being able to have better math because of that, I think is very very strong. So, but so I this is your video, but I did play Rob Lucci as well, and you don't have your webcam right now, but I have your list. I played about 5 cards different from yours, but we're gonna go over your list. I'm just gonna be the one handling the cards, and we're gonna start off. So Rob Lucci, obviously we talked about. I think it's very strong. I think it's gonna get better after this week too. But going into your low cost, we do have 4 of the Surus, and then you're running what I like to call like the hybrid of 4 of the Spandom and as well as 4 of the brand new.
yeah. So we've been testing this for a little while. We originally had it with no spandems,
Mm-hmm.
and then Jonas and I were talking. I'm sure many of you guys watching this have also seen Jonas on this channel as well. He does
Yes. Yeah.
really well with Smoker and Lucci.
Yeah.
And I was like, what if we just throw 4 spandems in there?
Mm-hmm.
And it honestly it makes the deck a little sackier. Um, but you kind of need that because Lucci doesn't inherently have a lot of card draw. I mean, if you're not seeing a 4 drop Kuzan, you're not drawing a card,
Mm-mm.
right?
Yep.
Um, and you may be able to search and stuff, but it helps keep up with the Zoro matchup, which is the way this list is played is actually a very favorable matchup. Unfortunately, I only saw one Zoro today. I would rather play against Zoro than current Whitebeard, just because there's circumstances with Whitebeard that you simply can't get out of.
Yeah.
Whereas Zoro, I mean, it doesn't seem like it ever really goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But it really helps with being able to trade back on them, efficiently and basically for free.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
And even if you whiff, like just being a 2K or 3K body to be able to trade with their Namis and stuff is kind of invaluable.
Yeah, and then we also noticed that um, you're always going to need CP9s in Grave
Mm-hmm.
to effectively play turns 1 through 5. So we always want the Kaku to be on curve, if not the next turn, if
Yeah.
we don't have an Icho, things of that nature. And then the third thing is this deck can't keep up with, to put it in simple terms, better decks unless you have the consistency to find your better cards.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So you need, like, if you're playing as Whitebeard, you need to find Blue Nose, you need to find the 3 drop blockers. And if we're playing without Spandoms and we're just drawing one for the whole game, we're not looking all that great.
For sure. And
So
even like if I go second, I play brand new and hit 3 CP9s. Yeah, it stinks. I don't get a draw card, but now I've already got my Kaku set up. I don't have to worry about it anymore, which is nice.
yeah, yeah, for sure. That's been my. I mean, honestly, it doesn't hit all that. Well, it hits more than it doesn't, but I
Yeah.
would say I would say it ends up being like a 75% chance of hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Which when you look at it, at first it seems really bad, but you find yourselves needing the graveyard
Yep.
fodder all the time.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's worth the win because, again, in worst case, you just play a 2 drop body that can trade with stuff. That's not too big of a thing. So,
Yeah.
going into 3 drops, for Kuru 3 of, I don't think we have to explain this guy. He's very strong. Just being able to be a blocker, and sometimes I like establishing this really early just to wait until later turns when they try to do some really big swings.
Yeah, I do that as well. That's kind of what I like to call the Whitebeard killer.
Mm-hmm.
That thing can single-handedly win the game against them very often.
Yeah.
And then Toshigi is obviously pretty self-explanatory. It's just a good 2K.
Do you ever drop her this today, or just kept in your
Uh,
handle?
Not today, but I have before. Personally, to play that card, I have to have a pretty bricky hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I do run that out against Zoro sometimes, but I only had the one
Yeah, you
Zoro,
only have
so
the one. Yeah, yeah. But being able to just again having a body to trade and just having a turn on, like it feels really bad against Zoro to put 3 Dawn on leader and just swing because you want to really establish board a little bit.
yeah.
All right, our navy cards here we got the Borsalinos and Kuzans. I know a lot of people don't run Kuzan in Rob Lucci, but I think he's very strong in it.
I think Kuzan's the best card in the deck,
Mm-hmm.
so I think it's kind of crazy to not play it. Yeah, that I mean, Kuzan and Takaku is just killing almost anything in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and when we get to 10 drops, you probably have an Isho on board. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah,
But you can just play blockers around it because they're spending the whole turn to play it. So, yeah, I mean, there's never a time where I'm like, oh, I'm bummed out. I have to play Kuzan. I mean, that card is just fantastic. And then the number one thing I notice when I see people play this deck with Borsalino is when I play it, I'm turning it sideways almost every turn.
yeah. I when even at like the locals on Friday, like I noticed like you are not afraid to swing with your Borsalino.
Yeah, because it's I mean, it just goes back to the fundamentals of playing this color where
Mm-hmm.
there's not a lot of hand advantage. So if they want to swing into a 6K, it preserves our counter power better.
Yeah,
And then we're also taking cards out of their. I mean, you can't just sit here with this deck. You have to tempo out
you do.
somehow.
You do. Yeah, yeah. I usually like taking like a hit or two just to have cards to help defend it. But yeah, I agree. Like once Borsalino will start swinging eventually.
Yeah, yeah, no, that thing is turning sideways. I mean, and like the only one I probably don't turn it sideways immediately is actually I can't even turn it sideways the turns. I wouldn't turn it sideways when I play it turn two. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because again, you usually want to take that hit, get some early card advantage, and then you can really tempo out. So then we got like I'd say pretty much CP9 core. Khalifa, Kaku, and Bluno are all pretty understood. Kumadori, I don't know if some people run in the hybrid list or not, but what are your thoughts about this guy?
so he's the most consistent out of them. You could argue, um, well, actually in this build, I was gonna say if you're playing the air door build, you could argue playing the 5 drop, but
Yeah,
obviously we're not playing air door.
no, no, spoilers.
Yeah, he's just the most consistent. As far as like what I want to bring back, if I'm not bringing back I mean, I'm bringing back a Khalifa if I have all dead cards in my hand.
Yeah,
And then I'm going to bring back the 3 drop if I know it's going to survive and I need another turn. Every other situation, I'm bringing out Kumadori
yeah.
if it's there. So it's just the one you want the most.
Yeah, have you and you think 4 is the right, or you think you could sneak down to 3, or
I like 4. I think you do need to see at least one every game for the Bluno to be the most effective.
for sure? Yeah, I've been thinking about playing the 3 drop vanilla in the upcoming format too, with just having a turn 3 play, 3 Dawn play sometimes is really nice and everything. But yeah, I think him 6K on deletion playing another 6K is very strong.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that is like the only time I felt like I really wanted something for a 3 Dawn play turn two was against Whitebeard,
Mm-hmm.
but even then, like playing a brand new swinging 6, swinging 8, or playing 3 drop Fukuru are all great options, or
Mm-hmm.
swinging 6 and leaving up Impact Wave. I mean, if I don't have any of that, I don't have any of that, but
Sure.
it is what it is.
Yeah, and then like Kaku and Bluno, I don't think they need an explanation. They're very
Yeah.
strong, and the only thing I don't like about Bluno is having to pay the maintenance cost of 1 Dawn on him sometimes. But after you've established him, you really don't care about swinging with him.
Yeah, that card also gets sideways a lot for me.
Yes, yeah, I can
I
believe it.
basically don't block in this deck unless I have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's very fair. And then kind of like our bigger end, we only have 2 Sakazukis, 2 Ishos, and none of the 10 drop Kuzan, which I know some people try to sneak in every once in a while. 2 and 2 good, or you wish you had 3 of one of them.
Oh no, they were great. I mean, a lot of matchups you don't want to see either of them, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. Law, you want to see Isho and Sakazuki, and Whitebeard, you want to see both.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, you can like Yellow gives you enough time to just play the game like normal with
Mm-hmm.
blockers, and you'll win out.
Sure.
Zoro, you're definitely not resolving either of those.
Yeah.
Um, and
I've resolved Isho against Yellow pretty often, but the thing with Isho is like the longer the game goes and the more the meta, people naturally play around it, so you don't even need to play it anymore. You know.
yeah, that's a fair point, but I do think the -3 is pretty important, and
Mm-hmm.
then just being a 9K because there's obviously no top end other than these
Sure.
cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is also really crucial. And then obviously it's like a Whitebeard superstar.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure.
I expected to play a lot of Whitebeard today, but I did not expect to play 6 rounds
Six.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
expected like a little bit more Zoro and stuff, or else I
Mm-hmm.
would have just loaded up on another Isho or something. But
For sure. But yeah, very strong. I mean, you beat all but one, so that's very admirable. And then last card, two shockwaves. Um, thoughts, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, so I feel like I only ever really want to play this card once a game,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a brand new target. So if I really need it in a matchup, which is specifically Law or Zoro,
Mm-hmm.
then it's really good. I don't ever really want to keep the mana up against Whitebeard. I like to tap out against them
Mm-hmm.
pretty much every turn and make the board very readable for them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
No, it does. Yeah.
like, um, but I will say that's probably going to go back up to 4 with Whitebeard falling
Gone.
off a lot.
Sure.
Maybe, I mean, we'll see what happens, but you do need it for Law and for more Zoro. So
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine those are both going to be more favorable. I don't think Law will be all that much more favorable because it's such a hard deck to play that people can try to pick it up, but I think a lot of people will end up getting right back off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But Zoro will pick up for sure a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I personally have not been I didn't run Shockwave today, and I honestly didn't miss it because I again like as you were saying like there are just few times where you actually want to leave the dawn open for plays. But I do agree like against Law like sometimes you just give them some awkward turns. It's just like they can play around it pretty easily, which kind of stinks.
They can play around it. I try to put it in a spot where we're going into like final turn. So if they populate, like if they have one drop blocker or something, I
Mm-hmm.
can pop
Mm-hmm.
that so that if they end up playing another one, then I can double swing through it. If they
Mm-hmm.
have 2 in their hand, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Or if they have like 2 Zoros,
Yeah. Yeah.
then you can pop the other one. It's just small things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, I mean, I think 2 for I guess a Whitebeard heavy meta was like just fine.
Yeah, I think so. So, well, cool. That's the full 50. Obviously, the format's changing a little bit after this, as we've been alluding all video. Any big changes or any kind of thoughts of adjusting that deck to the new meta that we're seeing, or still in the lab?
So the funny part is this deck wasn't even beat to build Whitebeard.
Mm,
Uh,
okay.
it was actually beat to build Zoro and Law.
Okay.
To the best of our ability. Um, it just Black as itself has a better matchup against Whitebeard.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you want to take a deck to a tournament and say I want to be Whitebeard, you play the Navy version.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
then you decide to lose to like you're gonna all of a sudden start losing to Yellow. I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe I don't know. I haven't tested it. You're for sure losing to Zoro.
Mm-hmm.
So things like our goal was to like get every matchup as good as possible, and Whitebeard felt fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It didn't feel dreadful. It didn't feel miserable. Like it felt like there was a very specific path they had to have for you to lose, and it's hard for it to come up often. So it was good enough. But yeah, it was a good matchup for everything. I mean, it will probably remain relatively the same. Just for shockwaves, I think,
Mm-hmm.
with the meta changing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can
And
see
I
that.
gotta figure out what we're gonna be putting in for that. I know Jonas was testing 2 Spandems and 4 Shockwaves. He was doing pretty good with that today as well. So maybe I'll give
Mm-hmm.
that a spin and see. See, I did test it a little bit myself. I didn't like it, but I was also
Playing with
still
the
again
current
playing
format. Yeah.
Whitebeard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
So we'll see.
Cool. Well, any final thoughts or shout outs before we end this one?
Yeah. Shout out to the lab. I'm sure you guys hear that pretty often on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're a big group of dudes that play in Arizona, and we always try our best as a group to do well going into events. Shout out to Jonas. Jonas always likes to cook some Lucci with me,
Mm-hmm.
or cook the smoker last set with me. This entire list was actually his to start. My only contributing idea was to cut Shockwave, and put Spandems.
Sure.
That was it. I mean, other than that, he just gave it to me, and then I played a little bit and thought maybe we should do that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Jonas is super good. He topped with Smoker last format, which I'd say is a pretty impressive feat. So big shouts to him.
It's probably harder than topping with Lucci. Yeah, because Lucci feels like you can do something every turn. Smoker was like,
I hope I see
some
it.
turns you were just passing. It was really bad. But shout out to them, and then obviously shout out to you and Yomi. For all you guys know that they come to the Olympus Games and stream for us, and
it's a really tight community. It's been really easy to fall in with you guys, so it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, the whole community is great. And we'll be playing next week, and hopefully we can put some more
more
Lucy's,
more Cyril Luffy's in the zip code.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, there's only 2 that go out in the tournament, so it's it's crazy. But yeah, no, it was a great time and super fun tournament.
Cool. Well, congrats again. Really appreciate you sitting down with this. I know we're both exhausted. And congrats again on the invite, the Luffy, and everything else that comes with it. So that's going to be it for us. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.